voices blending, melodies ascending, harmony in the air. Our songs are never ending. In the barbershop we create magic. Brad and John show, yeah, it's pure classic. No instruments needed, just our vocal range. Notes flying high, it's our musical exchange. Tracy's station may try, but they can't compete. Our barbershop style, it can't be beat. Oh, the harmony of voices, so sweet. In the barbershop of life, our tunes will repeat. No need for instruments, no need for a band. Just the Brad and John show, the finest in the land.
John, are you ready? Are you ready, John?
I'm ready, Brad.
Time for the John Combest Top 3.
It is Friday, and that means we have a special CP intro, and then we have a special jingle for John Combest, who puts together this incredible list of things that you should know about going to the state of Missouri. Does it every single day for the past 23 plus years, every single day, holidays, weekends. He's not like a school teacher who has 48 days off. That's just in August. He has tons of work to do every day. Now, he puts dozens of things together on johncombest.com, but he wakes up at 2 o'clock in the morning trying to figure out the top three, what the most important, three most important stories are. And he has this guy who he hires to say things like,
I'm Casey Kasem.
And say things like,
we're on our way to the number one.
And say things like,
now on with the countdown.
And say things like,
and here they are.
And we start with,
in third place.
Speaking of people in public education getting days off, the Post-Dispatch has a unique story today. It's by Blythe Bernard. The headline: 2 St. Louis public schools employees awarded $90,000 each in lawsuit over vaccine mandate. That's right. Back when people took COVID seriously and thought it was real scary and dangerous, St. Louis public schools took a hard line. They said, you will get the vaccine mandate. Maybe if you have a religious or medical exception, you don't have to get it. But if you're just the average Joe lunch pail, you better get that COVID vaccine, Hal, or you're going to lose your job. Well, there's a number of employees that said, I'm not getting the Fauci ouchie. I'm not getting this experimental vaccine, and didn't take it. And some of them lost their jobs. 2 of them settled, and they got a total of, the women's by the name, their names are special education teacher Lisa Scales Dansbury and behavior specialist Rochelle Page accepted offers from the public schools last month to settle their case for $90,000 each. Ms. Bernard goes on to explain that there's a whole lot of cases still pending. To be more specific, there's one big case and a whole lot of plaintiffs who have yet to resolve their case. It's still being mediated. So more than a handful of former employees who were dismissed have settled with the district, but there's a whole bunch that haven't yet. And you may be interested to know, Brad, because you'll probably know this name. The lead attorney for the whole group of employees is a guy named Kevin Casper of the Casper Law Firm in St. Charles. So it appears as though from this piece, he's kind of quarterbacking the effort, and some people are reaching settlements and some people are not. So I guess this just goes to show, Brad, for people who took a strong stand and said, I will not get this vaccine, at least some of them are being made whole.
Yeah, that Kevin Casper, the reason they got all these people is because they advertised in his radio station, Casper's radio station. That's how he got all these people.
Do you think he's actually related to them?
Oh, yeah. I know he is.
Oh, wow. Good for him.
Yeah. Well, runs in the family. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's a bulldog. I mean, he's, and here's what's going to happen. Not only will he get them their money, he'll also get the St. Louis School District kicked out of the local Chamber of Commerce. They'll be kicked out. I'm telling you.
I guess you could say Casper is not the friendly ghost.
No, he's not the friendly ghost. What's so bizarre about this is, hindsight being 2020, you look back at the whole COVID thing, you go like, I can't believe we fell for this crap. You know what I'm saying? It's just sort of like...
I do. I know an old guy that drove across the state twice to get a COVID vaccine.
That would be me, the old guy who drove to Raytown, Missouri, not once but twice. The amazing thing was, when I got there the first time, I said, okay, you guys are, what is it now, Compass Healthcare, is that what it is? And what do they call themselves now? It used to be...
Yeah, I think they're Compass, yeah.
It used to be something else, and I can't remember what it was. They renamed themselves. And I said to one, I'm in the gym at Raytown High School, and I say, next time, can I just go to one of the places in St. Louis? No, you have to come back here. They said that was federal law. Do you believe that you had to get both vaccines at the same place? That's what they told me. They said it was federal law.
Yeah, I could believe the feds would have a ridiculous rule that doesn't make sense.
Yes.
The worst part to me, besides, among all the silliness, the part that really grated on me during the COVID thing, is you would scroll social media and you would see people virtue signaling, and you would see them showing up their pale, disgusting, fat, flabby arms and showing where they had a Band-Aid or where they got a shot. Like, we're supposed to be impressed by that. First of all, cover up your flabby arms if they don't look good. Like, nobody wants to see your skin flapping. And second of all, can you imagine being a man, not of Brad Hildebrand's age, but like, let's say a gay man get a pass here. But could you imagine being a heterosexual man whose wife, girlfriend, whatever, pressured them into getting a COVID shot, and the humiliation of being cucked into getting a COVID shot, and then like posing for a social media picture? Here's us, we did our part, shelter in place, 2 weeks to stop the spread.
John, once again, I keep my studio right here in front of me, at the bottom of the monitor here. I talked about this before.
You keep your card in front of you.
I keep my card in front of me. Yes, my first shot was 2/26/21. My second shot was 3/26/21. So I passed my fourth anniversary of the first shot, and I'm coming up on my fourth anniversary of the second shot. And it was just crazy. And the crazy thing about it is this card, which is official from CDC, I think it would take you maybe about 30 minutes to counterfeit this card, to go on, you could probably do the same. You could copy the logo and write this thing up in Microsoft, Word, and then just run it on your computer, put some, card stock in the printer, and away you go. And man, you could. Remember there were people selling these cards. Remember that? You could buy them.
I remember that. Yeah, I thought that was great. Like sell a fake COVID card. By the way, if anybody who bought into COVID who would then try to buy a card because they lost theirs, like, they deserve to be separated from their money.
Well, I got it. I got the 2 shots, and I had COVID 3 times. So, I guess it didn't work.
That shows how effective it is, right, Brad?
It was real effective. And remember, all the pundits go, once you have the vaccine, you won't get COVID. And more importantly, you won't pass it on to anybody else. BS and BS. Right, John?
That's right, Brad.
Number 2.
Up a notch to number 2.
Yesterday, we discussed the contentious issue of who controls the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. Should it be city leaders, or should it be a group of folks in the city selected in part by the governor? That's been the crux of the debate. And yesterday we talked about the fact, my observation, just some guy sitting out here reading some stories, was that Steve Roberts came out pretty well in this. He's a St. Louis City state senator, and he did the best he could. When you watch what happened with the bill, he did the best he could trying to make the best of what he probably considered to be a pretty bad bill. He got one of his pieces of legislation in, which was making sure that people who have been exonerated, who allegedly committed crimes and then were exonerated, that the state made them whole. Now, Steve Roberts, it turns out, according to this piece in the Post-Dispatch by Jack Suntrup, that didn't go over very well with Tishaura Jones. And when I say that, I should point out that Steve Roberts in front of a press conference, in front of reporters, said, quote, the mayor, talking about Tishaura Jones, the mayor no longer enjoys the confidence of the people in this building. She couldn't even be bothered to reach out to the senator who represents nearly the entire city of St. Louis, nor engage with any of our Democratic allies. Brad, what's happening here, and what Jack Sundrup knows and really can't say, because I don't think Jack wants to be gossipy. In this case, Jack doesn't want to be gossipy. What he's not saying is that Steve Roberts here is getting the absolute best of the situation. And I think he played the situation as well as you can politically. Control of the St. Louis Police Department was always going to go in the direction of Mike Kehoe's picks. Steve Roberts knows this. Steve Roberts wasn't going to get in front of that train and get run over. So Steve Roberts did the best he did with a proposal that he probably doesn't like very much, got what he could out of it, and then after it's clear that this is going to become law, was able to come out and say, by the way, Tishaura Jones, who I don't like very much, this is your fault. People in this building don't respect you. The city's decline has affected the way that we debate these issues in Jefferson City, and you are no help, Tishaura Jones. So pretty masterful by Steve Roberts here.
You know, I'm trying to find this video. I was going to play part of this video that I saw on Facebook, or not? It was a YouTube Shorts. And you ever seen these? You get these guys who are doing this, the top three, and they do a top three. Okay, the guy starts out with the headline on this particular short is the top three most dangerous cities in the country. And it was interesting. Guess who wasn't number one? Guess who wasn't number one this time?
Weldon Spring.
No, it wasn't St. Louis. St. Louis was number 3. But the guy drones on about the city's crumbling and crime is so rampant that nobody goes downtown anymore. And I'm going like, oh, okay. You know, once again, this is matter of fact, I did my sales pitch to somebody yesterday. I had a meeting yesterday with a banker of all things. And I told him what I was doing with the Westplex Chamber of Commerce. And he says, why would you be doing that? And I gave him the whole pitch. And I said, okay, think about this for a minute. Where you're traveling and someone says, and this is out in St. Charles County. This banker was out in St. Charles County. And I said, when you're traveling and somebody says, hey, where are you from? And what do you say? He says, well, I'm from St. Louis. And what do they say? What do you mean? Then they say, oh my God, how do you survive there? Is your car been carjacked lately? You know, do you have bullet holes in your house and things like that? He says, well, that's in the city. I go, once again, that's why we need the Westplex Chamber of Commerce, because we need to divorce ourselves from the city, because it ain't going anywhere and it's getting worse. You know, I mean, just getting worse every damn day.
Hey, that's a great point. And let's get back to the story real quick, Brad, as we have 4 minutes left for this segment. For their part, Tishaura Jones' office says that the mayor has, quote, engaged extensively with State Senator Carla May and, quote, other actual Democratic allies in Jefferson City on this issue. This report is wrong, then it's spelled wrong, on these issues. And then Connor Kerrigan again says that Steve Roberts is, quote, blatantly lying and living in an alternate universe. So, is Steve Roberts living in an alternate universe? I think he's living in reality when he knew that this was going to pass. But the mayor's office says that he's just straight up lying, that Tishaura's been involved in these discussions the whole time.
You know what we need? We need Tom Homan to come in and just sort of, take care of business. You know what I'm saying?
I think so. Just clear everything out, right?
Yes, what he's doing with the immigrants. And if you've heard the interviews with him, he is definitely take no prisoners. Okay, time for number 1.
The number 1.
97.1 FM, The Mark Reardon Show. Jean Evans, she's with the American Federation for Children. She is the Missouri state lead. She's identified incorrectly on the Mark Reardon Show podcast segment. You know, sometimes, Brad, old radio guys don't pay very much attention to detail. They just put something in and throw it up. Not you, but other people do that. Jean Evans was asked about Linda McMahon coming in as Department of Education leader. And her quote is, I'm so excited that Linda McMahon is the new Secretary of Education because I think she has got the right ideas about moving the money back into the hands of families and states when it comes to educating children. So Reardon and Jean go back and forth a little bit about what it would mean to essentially move some of this money, whether it's in terms of block grants or exactly what it looks like taking some of this federal money and sending it to the states. They talk about the origin of the Department of Education, which I believe was sometime in 1979, and how, it came about. Gene's point is it came about as a good idea of federalizing all this stuff. Gene Evans points out what you have many times pointed out, Brad, which is look at, say, City of St. Louis schools. Has education gotten better in the city of St. Louis since 1979? Gene is an advocate, of course, for having money be more local to districts, to parents have more choice in where they send their schools, where the money follows the kid, etc. So you can find that link up today. You can also do, as I usually do, which is just an Apple Podcast. Click on the transcript and you can read the transcript.
Is that it? Are we done already?
Yeah, we finished at 7:19, Brad. It's pretty good.
How is that possible? How is that possible?
I don't know. I think it's maybe because 3 minutes ago we ended up we cut short the seventh Westplex pitch to the last 2 weeks, and then we went right into story number 1.
John, you know what? I'm just gonna not say anything anymore. I'm just gonna not tell my stories. I'm just gonna.
Hey, yeah, that's what I do during B block and C block. You do a dissertation on Country Club Car Wash and Ron Grubbs, and I just kind of sort my junk mail and shine my shoes.
Do you really shine your shoes? Do you use Kiwi shoe polish?
Yeah, I'm a big Kiwi guy.
Yeah. Why is shoe polish so expensive? Why is that little tin of shoe polish? If you sell that by the pound, it would be like $150 a pound. You know what I'm saying?
Here's why. Because DEI is so fashionable that people like me put it on our face. And then we go in for job interviews at Hazelwood East. Brad, never purchase Kiwi shoe polish products on Amazon because I've gotten gypped before. Yeah. There's a lot of cheap retailers that will sell you fake Kiwi shoe polish.
Really? I mean, like
no joke, Brad.
In a fake tin and a whole bit?
Yeah, it looks completely real. And I shouldn't say it happens a lot, but once I got scammed, I went on Amazon and I saw that there were negative reviews for this place. You open up the fresh tin of Kiwi. You know that smell, Brad, that gets you so high? Yeah, happy?
Yeah.
And then you open it up and it smells like motor oil. It smells like just the most disgusting thing ever, and it's liquidy and syrupy. And then I went to complain, and it was like, oh, yeah, this place has 73 trillion complaints about selling fake Kiwi stuff.
John, can I make an observation?
Please do.
You're sounding like an old guy.
Thank you, Brad. I've been shining my shoes since I was a teenager. So,
well, the crazy thing about it was there used to be a thing in the military about the spit shine, and now that they've gone to mostly non-shinable shoes, they're going to the different kinds of combat boots. I still have. Matter of fact, it was funny. I cleaned out a closet and I found a pair of combat boots that my dad bought me probably 45 years ago at the PX at Scott Air Force Base, and they've never been worn. Is that crazy or what? And
that sounds like something. Next time you're going on a dangerous Facebook Marketplace mission to an area where an old white man shouldn't be, you should take those and try to use those as barter.
I was there yesterday, John.
I bet you were, Brad. I hope that lawnmower works.
Can I? Okay. A story that happened yesterday is up next in segment B, and John can listen and he can make fun of me, but that's neither here nor there. Okay,